man, we got the Los Angeles Rams versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's see here quickly, just to let you kind of simmer on this. We have the Los Angeles Rams, according to Bovada, are -1.5 against the Eagles as of this moment. This line has already been bet separately. The Rams opened up, I believe, as underdogs. Now they're the favorites. We talked a little bit at the top of the show about the Rams and the Cowboys. I thought that was higher quality football. The big thing here for me is that the Rams' offensive line looked better, and they were able to run the ball against the Cowboys, who I think have an actually okay defensive front.
Sure.
Philadelphia opened a game 17-0 against Washington and then completely laid an egg.
What was that, man? What was that? Wentz played terrible.
He did.
Didn't he take a terrible sack late to put him on a field goal range? Just something that you do not do.
He played bad, dude. He looked rusty. Yeah. And again, I'm not selling on Wentz. We both like Wentz. But Philadelphia.
So maybe this rust is just a part of it, because the weird is year, and there's no preseason, and you can't be in contact with others. You'd like to think that sooner or later they're all going to shake that off.
It's the weirdest thing watching this Eagles offense, and they're still banged up at wide receiver. Deshaun Jackson, who we thought would have a nice game week 1, he's the healthiest he's going to be all year. It's a revenge game. Complete non-factor. You have basically a 2 tight end offense. It's Ertz and Goddard, and they can't find somebody to produce. Like, I like Greg Ward just fine. I think Rager will be just fine at wide receiver. But I think the biggest thing was that the defense, ran out of gas. The offense, the intercept, there were turnovers, there were missed opportunities. So the offense didn't put the defense in a great position to succeed in that second half. It was just a weird thing to watch, because Dwayne Haskins might be the worst quarterback in football. And, I've been saying, I'm not a big buyer on him. I think he's too raw. A lot of these raw quarterbacks that we've seen in the past excel, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They're better runners than Haskins is. I just don't see any talent on the Washington team. And Philadelphia
don't they have good players on their D-line? That's about it.
Washington?
They got a couple guys. Yes.
Oh, Washington's defense, dude, they're legit. And not only that, but they're really well coached. Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera. They're going to be a top 10 defense. But to me, it's like Philadelphia got up 17 points. That's probably all you should need against Washington.
I know.
And they
especially
blew it.
The caliber of team. Yeah, and they blew it.
27-17,
that was one
man.
of the surprises of the day.
I could not believe it. And, credit Washington, credit where credit's due. Washington's been awful defensively, for years. And the coaching and the addition and their defensive line talent is legit. But, man, I just can't figure out how Philadelphia blew that game, dude. It was Wentz, really. It was Wentz to me.
It was Wentz, yeah.
And, Miles Sanders. Think about, Miles Sanders, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson's a non-factor. Jalen Reagor, their skill player who everybody's excited about. That was his first NFL game. It's 2 tight ends, and we saw this from Philadelphia last season, and they eked it out and they made the playoffs. But week 1, initial impressions is that Dallas looked more mature right now than Philadelphia does. And the losses that Philadelphia had in personnel, and they had some injuries, and they still are dealing with injuries. Philadelphia it's going to take a while. And I say the same thing about the Minnesota Vikings. It's going to take a while for them to gel with what they're doing. They will do it. But right now where they are, I don't like where they're at in the first quarter of the season. The Rams, I like what I saw. Goff didn't have to throw the ball, which is exactly what you want. You want a team that can run the ball and punch it in, from the 1-yard line with a running back. And, Goff is at his best when he only has to throw the ball 25 to 30 times a game because the run game's going.
Getting back to something you just said, I actually think Minnesota is in trouble. I think losing Diggs was a really big deal for them and a little bit understated, in my opinion.
You know what? And the addition of Diggs to Buffalo, they looked a lot better offensively.
They had firepower.
I've been underselling that. We've been on opposite sides of that, but I'm closer to where you're at. BC Johnson just isn't there where Diggs was. And you could see Cousins was just basically throwing the ball over and over again to Thielen. This offense did not look great. The Vikings offense didn't look great against.
Right, they scored late touchdowns. Green Bay got into this
prevent kind of thing, right?
Prevent deal where the only goal is to keep the players in front of you, but it doesn't really make sense if you're giving up 25 yards at a clip, you know?
Thielen went nuts in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but when the game was actually like being contested, being played, they had nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. And Philadelphia, it was like the complete opposite of the game to start off last season. Washington went up big, and then Philadelphia came back and won the game easily. It was the opposite. You know, the Rams getting back to them, normally I could count on Philadelphia's run defense. I don't think I can count on them just yet, although they played, the Washington, team just fine in terms of, run. But the Rams are better than Washington is up front and with their running backs and skilled players. Rams -1.5. You're not really getting a true home field advantage in today's NFL because of everything. I'm just
Sean, can I ask you about that?
Yeah.
So typically with fans, right, if you're at home, you automatically get 3 points, right?
Yeah, generally, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Generally. Okay, so how do they treat that now? Are they still giving teams these 3 points, or is it more like a half or 1 point?
Truly, I don't know. But
I'd be curious to know that.
I think they're adjusting on the fly. To see the Rams open up as underdogs, and now they're already 1.5 point favorites. I mean, you would see the line shift between Monday and Tuesday, maybe a half point. To see it shift like 2 or 3 points, I think everybody's adjusting because I think what's happening is the bettors. The professional gamblers and stuff, they're getting in on the action when they see the mismatch. And so they see it. I think they're seeing what I'm talking about is the Rams look like the better team. Philadelphia is not going to get the juice from the home crowd. So you're basically on neutral field for at least the first month of the season. Even teams that are putting fans in the stands, it's still limited occupancy. So
right.
I think the Vegas, the Bovadas of the world and all that stuff, I think they're opening the line like they usually would, but I think they're adjusting very quickly because I saw some lines like shift by like 2 or 3 points already from Monday to Tuesday.
Wow.
I mean, that's wild. You don't usually see that kind of shift. It usually takes a full week for that to happen. So anyway, with the game, I'm taking the Rams. What do you think?
I'm going to take the Rams as well.
Yep. All right, so we're 2 for 2 in terms of agreement here. Let's move it on. I don't think we'll talk too long about this one. The San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Jets. Bovada has that line at -7. So San Francisco -7 on the road, quote unquote, against the New York Jets.
Can I say something real quick,
Please.
Sean? I'm sorry. I want to retract my one, the bet I just made.
Oh, yeah?
Philadelphia. Yeah,
take
Philadelphia.
Philly.
Yep, I think Wentz has a beautiful day.
All right, that's fine.
Yep.
I'm still on the Rams.
Yep. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All